So first, what I want to do is just tell you that my name is Jennifer Simon Triantafilo, but everybody calls me Jay. It's been that way my whole life. The kids call me Miss J. Anybody who knows me calls me Jay. So please feel free to do that. I want to welcome you here. And what I want to do today is I want to tell you how I implemented myofunctional therapy, and I started my own practice, and now I make over $100,000 a year just working 2 days a week. And I really want to tell you how you can do the same without breaking the bank. I want to tell you a little story. I want to tell you a story, really a personal story about myself, and that is that 2 years ago, I created what's called a vivid vision. And for those of you that are a part of Simon Says already, you've heard of what a vivid vision is. For those of you that have not, you'll know pretty quickly. But a vivid vision is where you write down your personal and professional goals. And so I did mine about 2 years ago. And I remember as I was writing it down, I thought it was crazy, that there was no way that I was going to be able to accomplish the things that were on my list. But they were really my aspirations. They were my goals for the future. They were the goals for my family, what I wanted to provide for my family, and what I wanted to accomplish professionally. And now, 2 years later, I'm traveling all over the country, working with amazing speech pathologists. I'm teaching a subject that I'm incredibly passionate about. I have success in my clinic with my patients, making a difference in a way that I always wanted to. And I get to work with a group of amazing SLPs to help them reach their own goals. So that's really become the most amazing accomplishment for me personally, is to surpass my vivid vision. And now I'm creating my new one for the next 2 years. And that's what I wanted to talk about with you guys today. So if you stay with me until the end, we have a little nugget of treat for you guys, and that is that we have a video about our Tiny Tongue Tips program. It's this new early intervention program that I created with an amazing speech pathologist, Emily Metzer, who's based out of a preschool. And she and I came together, we created this program. You guys get access to it in the portal. And what it does is it really helps you have an effect with an early intervention OMT program, okay? So in that video, if you stay until the end, you'll get to see how we organize the program. It's a sneak peek into our assessment and our evaluation, as well as some of the activities that we have planned. But most importantly is that you will get access to 50 pages worth of content that we created for this program. So you're going to get all of that if you just stay until the end, okay? So we are excited for you to be here with us. So Julie, how do I, I want to ask you guys to do one thing for me. I think this is super important, I know for myself, is if you can please take the time to kind of recommit to this webinar. I want you to turn off your phones. I want you to spend the next 45 minutes, and I want you to invest in yourself. I really want you to take some time to learn about this amazing niche market that can allow you to reach your goals and have financial freedom. So stay until the end, recommit, turn off your phones, and really let's dive into it and get excited. Okay, so Julie, we're all set and I can start moving along. Except that how do I move my screen? Oh, there it is, great. All right, so here we go, guys. Just a little bit of information about me, just so you know who I am. I graduated from the University of Wisconsin in Madison in '95, majoring in communication disorders and education. Then came back home here to GW University and got my master's there. I really started out my career in a neurologic setting. So I've worked in acute care, outpatient, rehabilitation settings, all with patients with neurological disorders, did stroke and brain injury rehab for many years. And then when I started growing my family, I took all that information and my knowledge base and my experience, and I started the Simon Says private practice. I predominantly focused on adults for quite a while, but as my children were getting older and their friends were coming over and I saw that they had some pediatric articulation or language needs, I kind of started morphing into more of a pediatric speech pathologist. And ultimately now, for the past 10 years, have focused on myofunctional therapy predominantly. I've started an aphasia book club that I still run many years later. I actually am meeting this week with my group. We talk about fabulous books. It's something that is close to my heart. And I presented on that program at ASHA way back in 2007. About 10 years ago, in 2010, I went to my first myofunctional therapy class. And within the first half an hour, both Barbara Green and Joy Moeller got me so inspired and excited about this field that it was the beginning of my new area within this career of speech pathology. And when I came back from that class, I realized that I needed to tailor certain aspects of it more to fit a speech pathologist's needs. So I created tiny tongue tips, and thumbs up in an effort to focus on a speech therapist approach to OMT. My training includes the AOM program in 2010. I then kept my relationship with Joy Moeller and re-attended as an alumni an AOMT conference in 2016. I've been to the Advanced Buteyko Breathing course in 2016. I got to work with the amazing Linda D'Onofrio by taking her course last May for mastering OMDs. And what's not on here is that I just returned last week from a Myofunctional conference in Chicago, and we actually had a great interview with Mary Burke and her team. They were amazing, and we're super excited about the relationship and the therapeutic tools that we're going to share with you to come in the near future. And now I spend my time teaching seminars to speech pathologists around the country, educating them about myofunctional disorders, myofunctional therapy, and specifically the programs that we've generated. So let's get to it. What has myofunctional therapy done for me personally? Well, it's allowed me to create a community of amazing speech pathologists to be able to provide this therapy to their clients. It's enabled me to create a work-life balance that I really never thought that I would be able to achieve. I remember when Stefan and I first got married, I said to him, hey, I'm never going to make a lot of money, but I'm going to make a difference in people's lives and I'm going to love what I do. And then I was working like every weekend and every holiday and taking on extra shifts just to try to bring in some more money. And at some point we had a little wake up call of, okay, we have 4 beautiful children and this is not working for us. So we had to do some re-engineering, but the work that I've been doing lately in the past 10 years and the programs we've created have enabled me to have that work-life balance. And ultimately, what's any speech pathologist's goal in life is that we get to give back. So for the picture that you see in this upper right-hand corner, we have a wonderful nanny that's been with us for many, many years. And she, in working with us, she's the most loving, wonderful person you could meet. And she started an orphanage in her home country of Indonesia. And what started out with just 10 children has now grown to 60 children. And so we, on a regular basis, do fundraising efforts our children do, whether it's sending backpacks filled with school supplies or whether we do a shoe collection. Just last year, we had a big, huge actually yard sale. It was a moving sale, and we were able to raise enough money to provide beds for all those children. So we feel super excited about that, and we're always looking for great opportunities to give back. So we have a couple other fabulous ideas in mind for the future, and hopefully, as Simon Says members, you can join us on that journey. Another thing that I just want to mention is, not that I want to share like my whole financial life here, but I just wanted to show you that I have accomplished an incredible amount of financial freedom, more than I ever thought I would before. And this is actually just my Square spreadsheet showing you really what my income has been over the past 2 years. And one thing that you should know is that you're not going to make this amount of money immediately. It took me a while to build up my practice in OMT, but I think if you were to talk to many of our other members, they could show you that this trajectory is starting to happen for them as well. So it's pretty exciting. All right, so in January, we had this epiphany and we made some major changes to our approach at Simon Says. And that is that we wanted to make OMT for all SLPs. We wanted it to be accessible, we wanted it to be affordable, and we wanted it to be all inclusive. And what I want to share with you is really the top 3 reasons why you need to start implementing OMT in your caseload like yesterday, like tomorrow. The first reason is that most of your caseload is really affected by a myofunctional or orofacial myofunctional disorder, and you might be overlooking it. We hear all the time of children and even adults that have been in years of speech therapy. And that really is not necessary. It just might be that we're not treating the underlying function that is actually a dysfunction. So the question I have for you are, do you see some of these symptoms in your caseload, okay? Excuse me. One, oral habits, right? We see so many of our children that we work with who have thumb sucking, finger sucking, nail biting, other imbalancing habits like sucking or chewing on objects. All of these habits have an effect. We see children and adults with tongue thrusts or reverse swallows. We have like a running joke in my family that because my kids now know what I do and Stefan now knows what I do and understands it, that we walk around and when we meet people, they'll literally turn to me and they'll whisper or mouth tongue thrust or myofunctional disorder, like I'm raising them to be little speech pathologists. So we see that all the time. And I actually think that's the thing that we hear most about in graduate school. That's like the one term that we kind of hear is reverse swallow or tongue thrust. We see children and adults that are open mouth breathers. And I think many practitioners don't think that it's necessarily a problem, but it is. It's a symptom of a myofunctional disorder. For those of you that are feeding specialists out there, you know that the open mouth chewing is not appropriate, but did you know that it is a symptom of a myofunctional disorder? Structural abnormalities are something that we have been educated in, and maybe we've been told different things about their functional impact. But whether it's short lingual or labial frenums, whether it's enlarged tonsils or adenoids, whether it's tori on the roof of the mouth or on the base of the mouth, or whether it's clefts or submucous clefts, all of these structural abnormalities are changes to the form of the mouth, but the question is, what is the functional impact? Lingual scalloping is something we see. Whether somebody's been wearing down their teeth, grinding or clenching them, that can ultimately result in TMJ or TMD issues. That's a sign of an OMD. Obviously, the speech sound errors is something that we have been well versed and well trained on. Reports of snoring, sleep disordered breathing, or obstructive sleep apnea, also in conjunction with increased incidence of attention deficit or learning disabilities, we're now learning a lot more about the interaction and the connection between these things. And it will help us become better practitioners if we really understand them. Just recently, an article came out that was written by Christian Giemnall, and he works at Stanford University and is a sleep specialist. He actually is one of the pioneers in coining that term, obstructive sleep apnea. But he wrote an article really talking about, and it's called Critical Role of Myofacial Re-Education in Pediatric Sleep Disordered Breathing. And a quote that's in this article, it's a really good one if you want to look it up to read it, is that obstructive sleep apnea has become increasingly recognized as a notable health concern in children, given its consequences on behavior, function, and quality of life. So here we're starting to make a connection between the presence and identification of obstructive sleep apnea and what effect that has on the child's development and behavior. And then ultimately later he talks about that the implementation of other treatment modalities, and those other treatment modalities he's referring to is myofacial re-education, aka OMT, that it might play a role in the optimization of sleep disordered breathing. So basically, if you strengthen the orofacial musculature, that can improve or not correct fully, but possibly their sleep disordered breathing and ultimately then their behavior and function. So, you know, this information, the connection between OMT and pediatric sleep disordered breathing, you might have read about it in the ASHA Leader. Nicole Archambault has written a few articles. She really focuses a lot on breathing and airway. And go look up that ASHA Leader article, ASHA Leader article that she published just last year. It's really, really well written and very clear in its information. So the question that you might have is, okay, so I might be seeing OMDs, maybe I try to identify them, I think I'm doing the best therapy possible, but you might think, what are the consequences of them being untreated? Like, what does it really matter? If I correct their speech, aren't they in good enough shape? Well, we're actually finding not. We're finding that there's a longer term consequence that really has quite an impact on their growth and development. One is just the most obvious one that you're going to see all the time, which is orthodontic relapse. You will see kids who are in braces multiple times, adults that are in braces multiple times, and then it leads to later health issues that they have. Somebody shouldn't need braces 3 or 4 times in their life because they're having a dental relapse. Something is causing that change, predominantly the tongue or the lips or some other soft tissue malfunction. Another consequence is poor dental health or periodontal disease. Your tongue's always pushing on your teeth, right at your gum line, it's gonna leave a mark. Malocclusion goes hand in hand with that relapse. But when you're seeing young children present in your office with a malocclusion, there's a reason why the teeth are being pushed in a certain way. And it's likely from the soft tissues surrounding it. Jaw joint problems or facial pain, you misuse those muscles in the incorrect way for years, and it will leave a mark on how your joints work. Biting, chewing, and swallowing abnormalities. So many times children and even adults come into our office with reports of chewing and swallowing and feeding issues, but there's an underlying myofunctional disorder, excuse me, that needs to be addressed. Sometimes you'll see excessive grinding of the teeth or bruxing, that pulling forward of that lower jaw in an effort to achieve an open airway. So look at these kids that are grinding down their teeth, look at the way they're positioning their mouth, and then look in the back of their throat, because that might be one of the causes of the issues they're having. Another consequence is the one that breaks our heart, right? It's the one that us as speech therapists see the most, and that is lifelong misarticulations. When you see somebody who has a speech sound error or multiple speech sound errors, and they tell you they've been in speech therapy for many, many years when they were younger, it should be like a big red flag going off, you know, in your brain, which is like nobody treated the underlying muscle function, okay? We already talked about improper use of facial muscles, kind of leaving a mark in the structure of the face, but you know, we always joke, like I always say I have great lines on my forehead because I'm a super expressive person. Same thing happens if you're overusing muscles of your face to swallow properly. It will leave a mark. And lastly, like we talked about, the health risks associated with snoring and sleep disordered breathing and sleep apnea. You don't get enough oxygenation while you're sleeping and you have cessation of breathing, it's going to have a long-term detrimental effect on your brain and the way that it functions, and in kids in the way that they learn and grow. So the list really is endless. And so if we just want to have a little fun, excuse me, I told you guys at the beginning I have this little cold, so bear with me as I cough as I do all this talking today. Look at all these pictures. What do they have in common? Most obvious one, they can all use a little myofunctional therapy. So it's the things that we talked about. Whether it's the little thumb sucker up in the left-hand side, whether it's the tongue thruster in the middle, that real low tone, open mouth breathing. That kid has a labial tie because he has a big, huge diastema in between his 2 front teeth. The lingual scalloping is in that lower right-hand side. Most people don't always recognize or identify that. Obviously, the short frenum on the left side. And of course, I had to put on a little Shih Tzu because they walk around with tongue thrusts all day long. I'm sure we can find plenty of other little puppy dogs out there that do the same. So that was really just reason number 1. But reason number 2 why you should implement myofunctional therapy into your practice now is that it's already in your scope of practice. Okay, this is so important, and it's like beating a dead horse, but like, guys, when we were in graduate school, they might not have specifically taught us myofunctional therapy, but all the groundwork is there, okay? There is no other practitioner out there that can treat speech, swallowing, orofacial muscle function, and breathing. These are all aspects of speech pathology that we were taught in graduate school. Just nobody put them together in a nice package for us. Although maybe you've had been in a grad program that really did touch on it, and maybe you feel like you need a little bit more information. The nice thing at Simon Says is that we are training speech pathologists to feel comfortable in this field of OMT. But your groundwork is already there. Don't let anybody else tell you that you don't have enough information, because you do. This is our scope of practice. We are the best ones and deemed to provide it. And I have amazing colleagues that are dental hygienists, that are craniosacral therapists, that are physical therapists, that are providing OMT, and they're amazing. They're really, really good at what they do, but they really can't address the speech and the swallowing function in the same way that we do. So I just want to throw that out there. There is so much research. It's really endless. It's boundless. I haven't even read everything that's out there, and it's constantly coming out. Linda D'Onofrio, I really admire her so much because she went and compiled 800 abstracts related to the field of OMT in specific areas. So she might have craniofacial development in OMT, swallowing in OMT, breathing in OMT, frenectomies in OMT, and she has over 800 abstracts available. As Simon Says, we then went and pulled the entire article and have over 100 to 200 that we felt were really the most appropriate and beneficial for you to use when you're speaking with professionals, when you're speaking with parents, when you're speaking with colleagues. Just a couple articles really quickly I want to mention is 2 separate articles in the Journal of Speech and Hearing. One that talked about that 38% of various populations might actually have a myofunctional disorder. So that means like just 38% of people walking around actually present with an OMD. Actually, I think it's higher, but that's the number that was in that article. But the one that really stands out to me is the second part of this, which is that 81% of children with speech articulation issues, that they actually likely have an OMD as an underlying issue. So if we're treating these children and just addressing their speech sound production, then we are doing them a disservice because we're not getting at the root of the problem. We're not getting at their oral and facial resting postures. We're not getting to strengthening the tongue and the lips and the jaw so that it can support proper speech production. So you can sit and try to hit a target all day long, but if you don't have proper form, then you're not going to have proper function. So I just think this is one of the most important two articles as speech therapists that we can understand. What does myofunctional therapy include? We eliminate oral habits. We do some nasal breathing re-education. We have to establish correct oral and facial resting posture so that we can then correct where they operate, okay? We have to instruct them on how to chew and swallow correctly. We have to correct their speech sound errors. And then we have to take all those skills and we have to make sure that they're doing it all the time. I call it like kids that are therapized when they come into my office and they have perfect speech and they're at like 90%, but then we walk out, we go meet their friend for lunch and their speech falls apart the minute that we sit down together. So you have to habituate, you have to take it out of the therapy room and put it into everyday life. Okay, another article. Guys, this is the article that I take into every orthodontist lunch and learn that I do. And I give it to every Simon Says member. They know that this is, I think I hand it to them in our seminars and say like, take this with you. I always print it out, don't lose this one. It was in 2010, written by Smith Peter et al. And it was published in their journal, the American Association of Orthodontics. It's like their biggest journal that they all read and know. And so many of them have seen this. And what they did is they took a group of individuals, those that they knew had tongue thrusts is the way that they really addressed in this article, and they divided them into 2 groups. And they had a control group that only received orthodontic treatment, so only braces, only palatal expansion, etc. And another group that was an experimental group that got the orthodontic treatment and the myofunctional therapy. And dear Lord, I feel horrible for the ones that were in the control group because the outcome was glaring. And that is that those that only got orthodontia had a 3.4 millimeter relapse. I mean, guys, if you think about like an overjet or an open bite, could you imagine being in your braces all that time and then the bite reverting back to what it was because the tongue is constantly pushing in an erroneous way? Versus those who got the myofunctional therapy, they got retraining to strengthen and correct posture of the oral facial musculature, and they only had a 0.5 millimeter relapse. I've had braces as an adult, and my children, 3 out of the 4 have had braces, and I know that 0.5 millimeters is almost probably what any normal person or average person would have. So this article is a real important one and just a great one for them to be educated with. Okay, reason number 3, guys, why you have to implement OMT sooner rather than later is that I've been in your shoes, okay? So if you're sitting here and you're excited and inspired about what you're hearing and you're nodding your head and you're saying, oh my God, she's totally like reading my mind. She's like talking the talk. I totally agree with everything she's saying. And you want to be inspired and you want to follow this path of OMT and you want to make a difference in your clients' lives, but you might be thinking, but how? And I want to tell you that I have the answer for you. And that is that I spent 10 years after my initial training, and I came home and I was all excited to do this. And I came home and it's like, okay, well, now what? The program I learned was great, but there were pieces missing. So I started pulling like a little bit from this program, okay? So I did a little bit of Swallow Right, and I did like a little bit of the tongue thrust program, and I did a little bit of Barbara's program, and a little bit of Joy's program. And I realized that I really just needed to like compile my own that could integrate all the things like I felt like I needed at my fingertips when I was working with my clients. And so my 9-year learning curve, or 10-year now learning curve, can become your superpower, because I want to arm you with everything that you need to be successful in this field. My goal is for you to have success. So what does that mean? Okay, what that means is that I want you to get, I'm hoping that you would want to get certified in my Simon Says programs, okay? These programs are ones that incorporated all of my clients' goals in one, okay? It incorporated their speech goals, their swallowing goals, their chewing goals, their breathing goals, their oral facial resting, proper posture goals, and I created it in the most user-friendly way possible. So that's what we've created for you guys. So what are these programs? Well, there are 3 main Simon Says myofunctional therapy programs, in addition to tons of unlimited content that we've created for you guys to support you in these programs. The first one is Thumbs Up. It's a thumb sucking that includes finger digit imbalancing habit elimination program. Tiny Tongue Tips is the early intervention OMT program, and Tongue Tips, which is our classic oral facial myofunctional therapy program. Let's take them one by one. If you can see, Thumbs Up is a behavioral modification program. Excuse me. It's a 30-day program. It is positive behavioral reinforcement, guys. This is my favorite program. It's the most empowering thing that a child can participate in. So instead of all the times that their parents are saying, pop it and pull it out and you're sucking again, and they're using all these negative influences and they don't even realize they're doing it because they love them and they just want them to stop their sucking habit. But Thumbs Up is the most empowering. It makes them feel good, so they do good. And I always say it's the perfect triad of a child who's slightly influenced or bribable and educated, a parent who's willing to do anything short of cutting off that thumb or finger, and an outside therapist, and that's where you come into the party. It's really necessary to do Thumbs Up first, really, to eliminate those oral habits and then get into the myofunctional disorders that have become the consequence of those sucking habits. Now, like I have a child right now who he went in and had a frenectomy. And then the next week, we've been doing all these pre and post surgical exercises, but now we've started in his oral habit elimination. He has a lot of learning issues, a lot of behavior issues, and so we're attacking it in a little bit of a different approach, but he's having great success. And then as soon as we get partially into that program, we're going to start in the Tiny Tongue Tips program. He's going to be my little star. He just led a session. He was out of school, so he came last week to see me, and he had to bring his little siblings with him. And so what did we do? We did a Tiny Tongue Tips program, and he was my co-teacher, and he taught his brother and sister all the different parts of the program, and we had a blast together. He was a really good teacher. And you know that sometimes the best way to learn something is to be able to teach it. So I know that that was a big takeaway for him. So that brings us to Tongue Tips. Tongue Tips, I say that it's 12 sessions, but that's really if there is no speech sound errors, okay? So I say it's an average. If you include the speech sound error piece, then you'll have extra sessions tagged onto there. It's therapeutic exercises for the lips, tongue, facial muscles, resting posture. We teach the new swallow. It's not on there, but we teach proper chewing. You'd be amazed how many people just don't chew properly, and they've had feeding issues their whole life. Obviously, into the tongue tips program, we're really looking at form and function. So we're looking at whether there's any lingual or labial restrictions that could be impeding or impacting that function. And of course, we do speech therapy. And what's not on there is we do a lot of breathing therapy, initially in that program. So that is tongue tips. Tiny Tongue Tips is so exciting. It is our newest program. We've spent the past year creating it. Really, I have to give, this is what we do at Simon Says. I had a therapist who was in one of our early seminars. I introduced Thumbs Up and Tongue Tips. She's a preschool-based speech pathologist. Her name's Emily Metzer. And although I have met many others, Jenny up in New York, love you, another preschool-based speech therapist, Jen King, Kim Bell, so many other preschool therapists said, we're missing that early intervention piece. And I'm like, I know, let's just modify tongue tips and you can use it as you can with your little ones. Well, Emily came to me and she's like, look, let's create it. Let's do it together. And we spent 6 months working 2 to 3 times a week creating this Tiny Tongue Tips program. It's the bomb, okay? So because we know that form follows function, this is a play-based program. So it's not as rigorous and kind of straightforward as tongue tips, but it's more play-based. And it's ages like 3 to 6 or 7, and you're teaching proper postures. And we created the program in 5 sections: warm-ups, mouth time, breathing time, sip and snack time, and talking time. And they do all of them through each session. So we're not expecting perfection from the program. We're expecting exposure and exploration and practice so that we can promote proper posture. You can do this in a group setting or you can do it individually. But it's really for anybody who has been identified with an OMD or they're at risk for it, meaning like those oral habit kids, we eliminate their oral habits and then they go right into the Tiny Tongue Tips program. You could go into a preschool, identify the kids that are at risk, and then pull them out and do a Tiny Tongue Tips program. It's brilliant. It's so fun. So here's the deal. I've now given you 3 reasons why you need to implement OMT immediately, but I want to tell you the fun part, and that really is how we at Simon Says have made this accessible, affordable, and available, and all-inclusive for all you guys. So in the past, and I'm sure you've heard, because if you're interested in OMT, you might have done some investigation, this certification, this OMT certification can cost anywhere from $2,000 upwards of $5,000, and then some of them want extra certification, and so you might have to fly people in and do extra costs incurred for that. I mean, I know alone my graduate school education at GW cost over $60,000. You guys can think about what your totals were, and we shelled out a lot of money for an amazing education that put you into a field where you feel good because you're doing good and making a change in people's lives. But you might not, as you've started your families or thinking about starting your families, or just living your life, think about, how much money can I really invest in more training? Well, in comes Simon Says, we wanted to try to do an experiment to see if we could make this a little bit more amenable for you guys. So we tried an experiment in February to see if we could make it more affordable, more accessible, and inclusive, and it worked. Like it worked. It was amazing, and it made us feel so excited that in 1 month we tripled our community of SLPs. So with this new influx of all these amazing SLPs, we closed the portal so that we could, because we have a membership portal, which I'm going to talk to you about, and we wanted to take some time to onboard our 107, 120 members, educate them, and help them start to grow their practice or start their practice and advance their professional development. Because our goal at Simon Says really is to provide a crazy amount of value. Okay, so that value might be in answering emails, it might be sharing stories, it might be analyzing cases, it might be supporting successes, but our goal is really that we want to make sure that we're here for you as mentors and as supporters and as educators. So let me take a minute. We've gone through a lot of information really quickly, but I want to take a moment. I just want to ask you a question. Okay, do you guys mind if I take a few minutes just to go over what Simon Says can provide for you, how we can help you professionally and personally? All right, Hopefully your answer was yes, and that you joined us on this next page, which is to tell you about the Simon Says membership. Our goal is to create a community of the most forward-thinking and powerful group, I love this one, of inspired SLPs on the planet. We really want to inspire and excite you guys about this niche market of myofunctional therapy, and we want you to join us. We want you to join us in this positive and empowering community of speech therapists who are there for each other and sharing stories and having success. So it really gets us down to what you're going to get. Okay, if you join the Simon Says membership, you're going to get certified in all of our programs. Okay, and you can see there it's like a $5,000 value. And so what does that include? That really includes the tongue tips program where you have lesson plans. We have an online library of videos. We have flashcards. We've created placemats for them to use at home. We have endless evaluation tools. We are constantly creating content, much to my husband's dismay, because every week or two I get this like awesome idea of something I want to create, and then I say to Julie, we have to make this, we have to share it with our members, and then he's like, focus on other things, and I'm like, no, they're gonna love this, it's gonna work. So that's tongue tips. For thumbs up, this thing is fun, guys. We have created some really fun educational tools for you. We have a program packet that you can share with your parents. We have a video so you can actually see us implementing this program with a young 5-year-old. We have a script, so word by word. I've done this for so many years. I literally say the same things every time. Of course, you're going to make this program your own because not everybody is the same personality. I tend to be really extroverted and just like out there. But there are members that we have that would be like, I don't think I would be like jumping up and down and screaming. So yes, you make this your own, but we do have the video and the script if you so want it. My favorite thing is we see the screen where it says, hi, I'm thumbs up. We created an educational video for kids to watch so that they can understand why it is important for them to stop their oral habit. And then another really fun thing that we've got is that we've created comic books. Right now we have 2 that are perfectly completed, one that is just like hairs away from being done, talking about eliminating thumb sucking, finger sucking, and the newest one is for pacifier use. But this first one was done by Andre, who was an intern for us here at Simon Says, and he just had an interest in comic books and anime and so forth. And then I was in my daughter's high school after Andre left us, and I had this adorable girl, Mary Kitty Sook, who came in and she wanted to do some artwork in the school. And I said, well, let me see your content. And she said, well, I mostly do comic books, and then proceeded to open up her portfolio, and I almost fell off my chair. And she's now made 2 more for us with a 3rd one on the way. When you see it, you're just gonna flip. There's talent everywhere, even in a 16, 17-year-old girl. It's amazing. For the Tiny Tongue Tips program, guys, this is our newest and most exciting program. I mean, what you get in this program is sick. You're gonna get picture cards. That's my daughter right there doing the tongue point. We have the actual program, which is 256 pages worth of content. There is an evaluation tool, a pre and post test. There's lesson plans that we put on a pad that you can rip off and use for the group settings that you run. There are games, there are activities. Again, we said if you stay until the end, you get 50 pages worth of those activities, access to them. So that's Tiny Tongue Tips, and we are super excited about it. So again, back to this idea of what being a part of the Simon Says membership can get you. You're going to get certified in our programs. You're going to get business development support. Okay, so what does that mean, business development support? Okay, well, what that means is that this is one of our classes that we had in LA last year, and we brought out one of our favorite orthodontists to come out and educate. That was at our lunch. Let's see if this works, Julie. Oh, here, this is just a little video from my friend Deanna, and she's talking about being a part of the Simon Says membership.
Go to 20 seconds.
Oh, go to 20 seconds. I'm supposed to go to 20 seconds. Will it play out loud? Is it playing?
Frederick, Maryland, and I'm a member of the Simon Says Inner Circle, and my favorite.
Uh-oh, it seems like it's, this is where my technology savvy is not always, doesn't always work. We're gonna cut it, but if you want to access it, we are more than happy to email that to you so that you can see, I mean, really, Deanna said such kind things, but basically she was saying that we are always there for her, which I stand tall and say that we really do try to do everything we can for you guys to answer questions and help you out when you need it. So what can you get from being a part of the Simon Says membership? You can get certified in our programs. You can get business development support. You can get access to our portal. Okay, let's see if my link works on this one, because this is so fun. Is this gonna work, Julie, if I click on it? Oh, that one's not linked. Okay. I thought that was clicked on. So I wanted to show you, if you look at this page, and you can see that it says get started here, all the blue tabs on the left, tongue tip video exercises, thumbs up, tiny tongue tips. If you click on those blue links, you will see 5 to 10 windows open up underneath it with all the content that you need. So if it's exercises, it'll have week by week video library that you literally just click and send to your patients. So you see your patients, you teach them exercises, and then you send them the link of video exercises so that they can practice at home. Same thing with thumbs up. You might click under there and you have access to all the comic books so that you can share those with your clients. You might have under tiny tongue tips, all the pages of the book that you need in order to implement that program, in addition to the lesson plans that you can print out. There's instructions that Julie's created on how to order those lesson plans in a pad form. We have marketing materials. You can look on there, and I have, when I came home from my initial class, I knew that I needed to make some marketing materials, but the ones that I had seen at Joy and Barbara's class were really not geared towards a speech pathologist. And they were so generous and kind, and they said, you can use ours if you want, or copy it and try to create something. Well, it took me 1.5 years to create it just the way I wanted it, but I didn't want you guys to have to do the same thing because it's expensive. Hey, Julie, can I plug in my battery, because this is a little bit low battery. Okay, thanks. Says that it's a little bit on the low side. Thanks so much. So it's those marketing materials are there for you. You can just impose your picture and your bio on the back, and Julie has instructions on how to do that, okay? So we've created that for you. Stefan has created a business corner where he gives you tips and tricks. Like I talked about that vivid vision earlier, how I actually wrote down my physical goals. He meets with some of our members on a regular weekly basis to help them achieve and accomplish their goals. So again, our goal is not just clinical in helping you advance your OMT knowledge, but it's also business and professional development to help you be the best that you can in your business. So if you're a member of Simon Says, you can get certified, you can get business development, you can get access to our portal, but you can get tools to create your own interdisciplinary team. If you come to any of my seminars and you ever talk to me about providing OMT, oh goodness gracious, let me see if I can get this thing to plug in. Yeah, Julie, if you can just navigate that, because there's something in my...
Okay, I got it.
Okay, you're gonna work on that. I'm gonna keep talking. So collaboration is key. That's what I talk about in all my classes. Here in Maryland, locally, we've created a myofunctional study group, and we run it with a pediatric dentist, an orthodontist, an ENT, a few speech pathologists, oral surgeons. So that is what, when we meet, I think we meet every 3 months, and we have a different topic, and we bring research articles from each professional to support. So amazing. And then we refer to each other. So we've created email templates to help you reach out to these professionals to try to establish that relationship. We've created a lunch and learn that you can use and personalize so that you can go into these professionals showing them what you do, how you do it, and what you can provide to get referrals from them. We have research articles. You name it, we have the tools to help you create a positive interdisciplinary team. Oh, look, On the next page, those are our screening pads and our communication pads. If I want my orthodontist to go through and see if somebody might need my services, they answer the questions on the left, and if a few of them have been tick marked or checked, then they know that they have to give my pamphlet. On the right, if I'm sending somebody to an ENT because they need to get an airway assessment or need to know if they have nasal airway patency to work on some nasal breathing, then I send that communication pad. If I need somebody who I think needs a frenectomy, I'll check that box. So we use this with different professionals in order to collaborate and communicate. What will you get if you're a part of Simon Says? Certification, business development, access to the portal, tools to create your interdisciplinary team, and the one that's really like the most fun for me, which is access to community of like-minded SLPs. There is nothing that I enjoy more than sitting in a room of speech pathologists and sharing ideas, getting inspired by you guys. And I'm not always the expert in the room. There have been so many classes that I've been at. I'm the first one to say I am not a feeding specialist, okay? I did neurogenic, swallowing, stroke, brain injury, communication, rehabilitation for 15 years. So put me in that box and I got you. But put me with pediatric feeding disorders, I've learned an unbelievable amount of information, but I'm not always the expert in the room. And I love learning from you guys. So when I look at our Inner Circle Facebook page, I love learning from you guys. I love being a part of a community of speech therapists where we support and encourage each other to be our best selves. Here's just a page right off of our Inner Circle. Here's Courtney. God bless Courtney, she is a rock star. She says, as of today, I've met 4 short-term goals that I created exactly 1 year ago when I attended my training in May of 2018. So she just put that out there. Ashley, love this chick. Love you, Ashley. She had somebody contact her for a dysphagia evaluation and found that the woman was tongue-tied and had myofunctional issues. And so she said, I left standing a little taller. She said, Jay, your training is phenomenal, thank you. And then of course, Emily is sharing some ideas for the Tiny Tongue Tips program where they were cooking marshmallows for s'mores in the Tiny Tongue Tips program that she did the other night. But what I want to do now, I want to take a few minutes and I want to share our newest features, guys, because I'm so excited. We took this past month and a half to onboard our new members, to make sure we got to know them, to help them start having some success in their OMT practice. And also in that time, we've been working really, really hard to create some new opportunities that benefit you guys. So what's the first one? Well, the first one is, aside from all the things that you were getting before, certification, business development, membership portal, interdisciplinary team, and access to our community, now we have access to SimplePractice and their team, okay? SimplePractice, I don't know if you guys know of them, but they are an EMR business, and they are the fastest growing, highest rated, and most innovative management software on the market. And we're not saying to you that you have to use SimplePractice. We just wanted to share with you an opportunity. So we're so excited about this partnership. I had been using an EMR previously, like for many years, and I was struggling. Like I just wasn't achieving the efficiency that I wanted to. And I would go to these seminars, talk about not being the expert in the room, and everybody would kind of share like what they used and how it worked. And there have been a couple people over the years that had mentioned SimplePractice, but I hadn't looked into it because I really felt like I had my EMR down pat. And then Molly Cervini came into our March seminar here in DC, and she was like, Jay, let me just sit and show you what SimplePractice does. And she actually took me to the website and showed it to me. And I was so excited that I walked out of our talk and I was like, Stan and Julie, start looking up SimplePractice. And now, you know, this is what we do at Simon Says when you have a team of people working together, marketing, business, speech pathology, is that we're looking for ways to help you guys be as successful and as efficient as possible. So I'm going to show you what, is this a link? No, it doesn't link, I don't think, Julie.
The words.
No.
Not working. Okay.
You want to help? Maybe I'm missing it. Julie's going to see if she can. It was supposed to be hyperlinked. Oh, the words. I was clicking on the name. Okay, my bad. This is why I have Julie. What you can see is this is like, I don't know what you would call this, just like a landing page. So if you're interested and you're thinking about using an EMR or investigating it, we've partnered with them, and because we've created this relationship, they're actually offering 3 months for the price of 1 to members, only if you're a member of Simon Says. So by being a member in our membership of Simon Says, you will then get 3 months of SimplePractice for the price of 1. And what I love the most about SimplePractice is the access to their experts. So like Kelsey was my onboarder, and she helped me really integrate and switch over from my previous EMR. And I don't even have words for how excited I am about our relationship and what we are going to be doing with them. They're going to actually be in Chicago with us, which I'll tell you about. All right, what is another new feature? Wait, how do I go back here, Julie? Can I just go to that? Okay, here we go. So we're back. Another new feature that we have, if you become a Simon Says member, aside from your certification, your business development, your portal, everything that we've mentioned before, we are going to have new live training. Oh, now is it on? Okay. We are going to have new online live training and certification. Okay, guys? So what does this mean? For the past 2 years, the main question that we get at Simon Says is, do you offer online training? And starting in October of 2019, here it is, live, 10 sessions, 2 hours each, once per week. And they are free if you are a Simon Says member, okay? So no travel, no extra costs, just the education that you want and that you need to be successful. That is our goal. So in addition to these new features that we've mentioned, it's another new feature that you're gonna get. We talked about the new feature of your access to SimplePractice and the community, your new online live training and certification, your new, here it is, you're gonna get new teletherapy with Simon Says. Guys, we know that teletherapy is gonna be the wave of the future on some level, and we know that it's something that we've needed for a long, long time. Well, Simon Says has become a leading name in myofunctional therapy, which means that orthodontists are kind of seeking you out, okay? But SimplePractice is really what's enabling us and allowing us to do this teletherapy. So they have a HIPAA compliant, state-of-the-art software program that allows you to work from home the hours that you want, giving the therapy to those that can't come to you, okay? I mean, if I could be doing that for so many years with my stroke and brain injury patients that really weren't able to travel, I could only make it to so many houses in a day. But the same thing is for the myofunctional therapy for the kids, and they have multiple children in the family. It's amazing. At my MyoMunchie conference, I was watching a myofunctional therapist who does only teletherapy, and we watched a video of her doing it for a dad and 2 children, all via teletherapy using the MyoMunchie. So, you know, this is the wave of the future, guys. So, Julie, if I click on this link.
The words.
Yep, I did that. Oh, this takes you to my page, and then how do I show them? What I wanted to show you is just all the therapists that we've trained. Oh gosh, I'm like going kind of awkward here. So these are all the therapists and the areas in which they work, okay? So what that means for you is that if you are a part of us, our membership, and a part of SimplePractice, that people might seek you out on my website because they've heard of Simon Says, and then find your location and then find you in that regard. So that telepractice is something that you're going to be able to take advantage of. All right, this next one I am like super excited about. As part of the Simon Says membership, one of the new features that we're offering is a business bootcamp. Guys, this is priceless, priceless, priceless. Because while we do our regular seminars to do our 3-day education with myofunctional disorders and myofunctional therapy programs and business development, in addition to that, Chicago's our first one, okay, of the business boot camp. You will have breakout sessions with experts in the field. That means that you have access to Julie, okay, so if you have any marketing or technology or software, or just to talk to her, because she's a sweetheart and she's amazing at what she does, then she'll be there. If you want to talk to Stefan to do your OKRs and make, you know, create your vivid vision, get some real good business advice, he's always got the answer and is always supportive in everything he provides. We have an orthodontist that's going to be on tap with us. We have SimplePractice coming to share and help anybody on board or even just learn it and determine if it's something that they want to do. And we have a guest speaker, a total badass mom, Unati Patel. I want you guys to get excited about Unati being there. Unati is a 9-year executive with Victoria's Secret, a Harvard grad, the London School of Economics. But on top of that, of course, I admire her most for being an amazing mom and her commitment to empowering women. So as a mom of 4 daughters and a business, even though us men, the men, we love you coming to our seminars and we love having you in our programs, to me, there's nothing more important than empowering women. And Unati is going to do that for us as a guest speaker in our Chicago class. So guys, here's the deal. If all this membership did was certify you in OMT and allow you to implement it into your current practice or start your own practice, would it be worth it? If this membership gave you tools to create an interdisciplinary team so that you could get more referrals, would that be worth it? If it gave you access to the Simon Says portal, wouldn't it be worth it? Well, you know, this is the part that I think is most important, which is that I'm not charging you $13,000, okay? I'm not gonna be like the other programs out there where they like have you pay $5,000, the course is amazing, but you leave and you say, well, now what do I do? How do I get started? I have no interest in doing that. I just want you to get started immediately. It's a $67 a month payment to be a part of our membership. And as soon as you click the button below or you sign up at www.simonsaysspeech.com, remember, of all that you're going to get certified in our programs. You're going to get business development that supports you. You're going to have access to the portal, which gives you every piece of information that you need immediately. You're going to get tools to create your interdisciplinary team, access to our Facebook Inner Circle page where you saw some of those testimonials and people's questions and people's support. You're going to get access to SimplePractice and their community, the online live training and certification, and the teletherapy with Simon Says. I want to tell you that we still do travel around and do seminars. There is no extra cost for the seminars that you would come to. Like, you're not signing up for the membership and then paying an additional cost for the seminars. The seminars are free. Okay, so we have one in Chicago. When's our next one, Julie? We're going to DC in October,
and then
Nashville in January, and then back in DC, I believe, in like March, probably, right? If you have a city that you want us to come to because you have a large number of speech therapists that want to get trained, organize it, plan it, reach out to us. We're probably booking a year out, but we're happy to do that. This summer, I'm going to Idaho. We have a couple other trips in the works. But what we want to share is that, you know, I want to give you a little snapshot of our past year. So you can see the pictures of all the therapists that we've trained around the country. It's been so fun getting to know you all. I thank you. I really want to thank all of our 120 members for their support as we are growing, and really helping us to accomplish our goals for you, helping you to be the best speech pathologist and professional business owner that you can be, or be the best clinician that you can be, or just feel like there are people out there that are supporting what you're doing. I was so touched by Jody, we love you. Your notes after your last seminar that you went to. She just wrote, Jay and Steph and Julie are doing something amazing for SLPs. I feel like it's the most life-changing thing I've done for my career other than graduate school. The idea that you have an Inner Circle portal for us to access afterwards is so appreciated, because I often leave seminars and have questions and I don't know who to turn to, so that I don't forget what I've learned and I can't put it into practice. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I have to just pump Jody up. Jody has been a rock star. She literally went home. She's accessed the portal. She's communicated with us really on a weekly basis, asking us about certain cases that she's been working on. She's already gotten referrals. She did lunch and learns. I mean, she's just cranking out the goals, and she's just a go-getter. So I'm super proud of all her accomplishments and that she's a part of our community. With that, I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here. Again, if you're interested in becoming a member, go to simonsaysspeech.com. More than anything, I hope you've enjoyed the webinar. I hope you've learned a lot about myofunctional disorders and the therapy that can be provided, so that we can get to the root of the problem rather than spending years in circles not having an impact for our clients. So let's go get them, guys. Let's be the best clinicians we can and have success. Take care.